Right here on Top Story, we are joined by former Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Speaker, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I know you knew Charlie Kirk. You had a relationship with him. Can you tell us about the Charlie Kirk you knew?
He was always an optimist. And if you thought about this, I met him like 10 years ago, just starting Turning Point. It was like a dream. And I met him because he was helping students run for student body president. It wasn't that you had to just be a Republican. And it was amazing. We'd bring him to Washington, D.C. I thought these would be future members of Congress. But what drove Charlie was he loved the debate, the policy.
The back and forth.
But he respected the other side. If you watched what he would do, and this is something you've got to think about for a moment. In America, we believe debate should happen in colleges, right? But this wasn't like he went to a college just to speak to people who he agreed with. If you disagreed with him, you got to go to the front of the line. He would tell his supporters, be quiet, let's show them respect. And he'd have a respectful debate. We disagree. I think guns are right. He'd go back and forth, would it be an abortion, be whatever it is, and he'd have that conversation with you. And if at some times you thought, you know, I'm wrong about this. And look, he loved his faith, he loved his wife, he loved his children. This is a person that didn't walk up and disagree with them. This is an assassination that thought about it, that planned it, that's now on the run, how to get out of it, and had to have training to shoot almost 200 yards to hit him like that.
You sort of...
He's not elected either.
Right, yeah, no, I know.
He could have been elected. He could have served in the cabinet, but he's more of a cause, of a passion, of something bigger than himself.
Yeah, are you concerned talking about, 200 yards away, this person looks like they had planned this pretty well. They still haven't been caught. They're out there. There's one image, surveillance image they've been circulating. You worry that they're going to catch this guy or not?
I believe people know who that person is. Look at that picture. You know that shirt. Yeah. This person has to be a good shooter, probably had to be trained or a shooter
or
himself.
A hunter. Yeah.
Yes. And to be able to plan that, think about that. He took that shot so far away through all those people and hit right where he needed to hit. And then from the same standpoint, he was able to escape.
Yeah.
That has to be some sophistication and planning. And did he shoot when that question, how would he know that question arose at the same time? That's information we've got to know.
It's eerily similar to what happened to President Trump in Butler. You have somebody climb up to a roof who had dressed in dark clothing. People see them on the roof and then still able to pull off the assassination. In the president's case, he did not die, but came inches from death, and Corey Compentori unfortunately lost his life there. I do want to ask you, I mean, you're somebody who is in the public eye. You were the Speaker of the House of Representatives. You know what it's like to get threatened. Where do we go from here? Because as you mentioned, Charlie Kirk, and I made this point yesterday a lot, he wasn't elected, never ran for office. He was a political activist. He had his enemies, right? But he had a lot of supporters, and he was in a friendly environment there. Where does politics go? Where does campaigning, pressing that flesh, getting to see people you are interested in up close, will that all change now?
Well, that's a question for the country. Because if you think about this, I was looking back and I was literally listening to RFK announce to a crowd that Martin Luther King was killed. Yeah. And he literally asked this question: what type of nation are we? And how do we move forward? That was in the 60s we watched this happen. But that was against elected officials, leaders. Look, Charlie was a leader. If they thought they were going to kill him all, this is going to plant many more out there of Charlie's movement to grow. But what we need to have here, there's got to stop. We've watched this happen. President Trump came less than a quarter inch of dying, the same part. I mean, he's watching. This is like a son to him and thinking, same thing happened to him. We watched elected officials get killed in Minnesota. We've watched this happen time and again. The only way we are going to cure this is individuals of the nation itself.
You have a little bit more freedom now because you aren't in political office. Mm-hmm. What do you think of some of sort of the outrage, the things being said right now on both sides about what happened to Charlie? Is it getting to a level where it's getting dangerous again, where we may almost repeat what we just saw?
We watch on social media people celebrating it. What's that going to do to somebody on the other side that pretty knew? You and I are talking about this, but I'm telling you who's going to affect it the most. If you go and listen to children 14 to 25, Charlie was someone they got a lot of information from. Whether they support him or not,
Right.
they like to be able to debate. They think they could be safe at a school and literally have a debate. They're going to be afraid from that standpoint. But is someone going to come back and say, I need to pay you back for what you're doing and others? That's the fear I have going
What would you
forward.
tell President Trump right now? What should his message be to the country?
Well, I mean, I like the idea of making sure this doesn't happen again, but I'm looking at President Trump and I'm thinking, emotionally, how does he go through this? This is like a son to him. And at the same moment, how does he not have the emotion that that was exactly what happened to him? And he could have ended up just like Charlie had he not turned his head that 1 second. Yeah. You know, I look at it too, where I watched members on the House floor argue over praying. This is what I want you to think about Charlie, not elected. But if you asked him what he wanted to be known for, a father, a husband, and a person who believed in faith. And why would this, if this person disagreed with him so much, Charlie would allow him to be the first person in the line to use words instead of use a gun against him. This is why this is so devastating. This really looks back to the 1960s in America, and it takes all of us. It doesn't sit and say, oh, somebody elected or not. As a nation, who
And it's happened in Minnesota, to Democrats,
Everywhere.
Pennsylvania, everywhere, Republicans, Democrats. Speaker, thank you for being here, and we thank you for sharing your thoughts and your memories of Charlie.
Thank you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.